One, two, three. What and welcome everybody today to Mom and Dad Talks. Where our favorite two people are Mom and Dad. They're looking great in their nice purple shirts, sustaining changes. If you don't know about that conference, please call us up. We'll give you more about it. We have dynamic speakers to help you and motivate you in what you're trying to do and accomplish goals and things that you want to do. Now, in saying all of that, today's discussion is about the Supreme Court's decision on affirmative action rule for colleges and universities. You guys lived in the era when they didn't have it, when they were implementing, and now you live long enough where they're taking it away. Tell us a little bit about that. What was like that experience like before affirmative action?
I was sharing with my neighbor 2 doors up today. He stopped to kind of chit chat, and we were talking about affirmative action. I told him when I was in high school, way back when, I said, there was a problem with the counselors that we had. And I believe that they had already decided that if you were Black, that you were not college material. And so I fell in that category, and they never put me in any college prep courses to even see if I could pass, do whatever. They just automatically, okay, she's a colored girl, Black girl, let's just stick her in general studies. And of course, when they do that, you don't have any, I didn't have any, word I want to use.
Encouragement.
Yeah.
From people who are supposed to be over you, that are supposed to direct you.
Higher education, she's just going to graduate from high school with general studies. So that is one of the parts that I experienced when I was in high school. That's over 60 years ago. So then we can take it on from there, where we went into affirmative action.
I had quite the opposite experience. In the 8th grade, all 8th graders at my school had to take an examination, had to take a test, and this test lasted about 2 days. And Mrs. Well, can I call her name?
No, can't call any names.
Well, anyhow, my advisor pulled me in the office and told me that you scored high enough to go into the college prep curriculum. And so I said, okay. Well, when I got in the college prep curriculum, all of my buddies were not in that curriculum. They were in general studies. And I went home and I complained to my father. I said, Dad, I'm in classes now where I'm with kids that I really don't know. And he said, oh, really? I said, yes, I scored high enough. And my counselor said, I'm in the college prep curriculum. As soon as I said college prep, that's when his whole countenance changed. He said, you are not going back to general studies. You are going to be in the college prep program, and you are going to study and be successful. Now, my father only had a 3rd grade education. But he knew the value of an education for a young Black man, because the value is your education will get you in the door.
Right.
Of many possibilities you'll never have a chance for. And once you're in the door, it's up to you to stay in that door and make a success of it. And to say the least, I went into college. My father was one that you never argued with him. You never argued with him. Even though he didn't have an education, he realized the value of an education. And that's the thing with so many of our African-American parents. They don't see the real value of an education for our Black children. I had an assistant principal that told one young lady that she's not college prep material. Well, this young lady not only went to college, she graduated from college, and now she is the treasurer of one of the counties around here.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times it's important for parents to realize the important value of that education. Whether you're going to Western or Yale or Harvard or whatever, you have to have that education.
Well, I got two takes on it. First of all, trying to not legislate people and assume that they're going to do the right thing is the worst thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because people, if they're not forced to do right, they're not going to do right because they don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the reality of it, folks. Doing the right thing, you got people in positions even today that should be doing the right things and just don't do it because they don't want to. They want to find a reason not to. And it makes it easy for them to do the wrong stuff. And that we came from wrong. This is how we got here. This is how you had the turbulent 60s. And it seems like we're going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like everything is going backwards because people like backwardness. People like to go backwards and not progress because they're scared of the new norm or what that new norm might be. And what's amazing about this whole thing is, you know, it was meant to help a disservice of a wrong that was continually done to a group of people,
Mm-hmm.
primarily us, African Americans, systematically over hundreds of years in this country. And what people don't really understand, folks, is this. Going backwards, it sends a strong statement about where we want to go as this country.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's always repercussions when you do stuff. You may think it's going one way and it goes another way. Just like some people, whatever you want to say, I don't want to talk too much about the Roe versus Wade thing. At the end of the day, you know, there's an opinion out there, strong opinion, that was never meant for anybody else but minorities. That's why they were in minority-driven places,
Mm-hmm.
Planned Parenthood, to stop the slow down of their population.
Right.
It didn't quite work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, now it's because they saw this whole thing explode in everyone's face there. So what I'm trying to say, folks, is it's very disturbing to me that our country
Going backwards.
going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, unless you know, people who want to do wrong, that's why we have cops.
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't have cops. Otherwise, trust people that are going to do the right thing. That's really what you're saying. If you don't legislate trying to do the right thing and make something right, they're going to do wrong naturally. Because why? What's there to convince them to do right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part that disturbs me. And then there's always a backlash. The backlash is always worse than what people think. And then what usually happens is, oh, that's why they did it. Well, why don't we learn the lesson the first time and try to progress rather than rehash it? That's just my thoughts on it. What do you guys' thoughts? Our final thoughts before we get ready to close out.
You know, I really don't think our country is going backward. It's just the fact that there are a select few people that are in the legislative power, and they're the ones that are pushing for our country to go backwards.
So,
and I really feel that there are people, both black and white, that will stand up and do the right thing and vote this thing down.
and my question is, has the final say about this affirmative action that we will push forward in doing what is right, but we're going to regress and take it away? I would like to know who makes the decision for the whole country.
Well, I think Dad makes a great point. Those people in power.
Mm-hmm.
Those people, I mean, you know, at the end of the day.
Okay, so they are making the decision for the country.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, think about it. How many people on the Supreme Court justice just made a call that we all have to deal with?
Mm-hmm.
The whole country didn't vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court justice made a call. And at that point in time, the legislative bodies there, that's why the Senate and the Congress to help develop those laws to do in those particular situations.
The Supreme Court cares nothing about we the people because they have their jobs for life.
Well, and great point, Mom.
They're going to just make any kind of a law and rule, and it's going to stand because they have a job forever.
It's a great point, but you know, you had the Dred Scott case, and at the end, you know, things have a way of coming back around. Because remember, Dred Scott said, hey, let's have slavery. Eventually, we had a civil war over this thing. Eventually, slavery was abolished, right? So you always have this backwardness in anything you do for a time. And then it self-corrects itself. Unfortunately, usually when it corrects itself, it's much more harder and a harsher reality. For instance, for the Voting Rights Act, you guys had riots. One point when Martin Luther King was killed, right? Just so you can have equality, right? There was a time where the best you could do as a person is be a janitor. I mean, when I grew up in the 80s and stuff like that, you have Harvard grad and Yale grad people from, acting school, and the best they could do is be a slave in Hollywood or a gangster. These are the things that usually happen when people are in control and they just want to see things a certain way because that's the way they want to see the reality, versus allow people of all colors and races, creeds and genders and whatever to have an opportunity to showcase what they have. And that's what I think this country's missing, is the opportunity to see what else you can be, rather than just continue in the same vein. It can be better, right? With ideas. There's nothing that can stop you when you incorporate multiple people and ideas in the thought process, not just one way of thinking. And, I grew up in the era where you had a melting pot. The strength was in our diversity coming together, not staying diverse and coming together. And so, go ahead, Dad.
And we as a people, we as a Black people, we've contributed so much to this nation. The stoplight, the blood bank, the iron. We've contributed so much that we deserve better treatment than we're getting right now. We're now mayors and lawyers and presidents of this great nation, and this is, I believe that this is a nation that wants to do the right thing, but the legislative body right now does not want to do the right thing.
Great point.
And we as voters, we need to let our legislators know that we're not happy. We're not going to stand for this.
What can we do about that if they're in there forever?
Well, let's look at it another step forward, right? For the Supreme Court justices who did vote for this kind of thing, just think about it, folks. Anybody who supports them financially, you need to boycott. That's the only way they're going to get their attention, because they're making money. They got jobs for life. However, anybody who supports anything that they're doing, you boycott it to get their attention from those sponsors, whether anything they're doing, charities or anything else, because those are the things that they do, right?
Right.
Find that out. That's how you make your voice really heard, because when that money stops, that's when you get people's attention. But also when your voting starts, you also get their attention there too.
That is so correct.
So you get, you just can't stop voting. You can't just stop, you vote with your ballot, but you can also make a statement with your finances too. Say, hey, you know what? If this is who you want to support and stuff like that, I'm not going to support that company anymore. I know for me, I'll be like, I'm not going to support those companies, support those kind of people.
Right.
And you have a phone and call up your senator and representative. Just let them know how you feel about this and where you stand. Because in the end, we as voters have a great deal of power in this country. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Because those voting machines, they talk.
At the end of the day, when the ballots were voted, and this was to be realistic, Fox News had to admit themselves it was a fair and square thing. Trump lost. It made a big difference with people's reaction.
Yes.
The whole thing about it is being fair, right? The whole thing about it, but when you have people who knowingly know things are not fair because they're behind the not fairness, that's why they believe that lie. Right?
Right.
I mean, trust me, if Trump would have won, he would have won. Unfortunately, he didn't. Just like when he won the first time, people questioned the machines. But no, I mean, seriously, that's what happened. And it is what it is. So at the end of the day, when things don't work out in your way, okay, we lick our wounds. We'll be adults about it. We'll just be better in our vote next time and be clear in our message the next time, right? But like I said, it was very, very disturbing. that they did this.
It was. It is.
And
we don't know what the outcome is going to be yet.
Yeah. So, like I said, you guys experienced being not having it, then being brought into it, now being taken away. And what were the thoughts of you guys thinking you would have seen that in your lifetime?
I never would have thought that would ever happen.
And folk, we're living in a different day and age. So I put it like this, folks.
Pacifier away from a little baby. It's crying because it wants something. You give it the pacifier and it stops the sounds that it's making. And then you take it away again.
Yeah. And the baby's gonna cry again.
Right.
And like I said, we don't know what that next looks like. And see that, and like I tell people all the time, there's nothing wrong with doing the right thing, because then the right thing always has a way of just standing the test of time. When you do the wrong stuff, you're always worried. You can't sleep at night. And bad things generally happen when you do the wrong stuff. So I'm hoping that and praying that our leaders start doing the right thing instead of what's easy. It's easy to do the wrong thing because, hey, you know what? You're getting a lot of pressure. So let's just hope and pray that the right thing happens. In the meantime, let us know what you think about this whole thing here, good or bad or indifferent. Love to hear from you. But support and subscribe. We like to have these conversations. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for talking about this. Till next time, we'll see you on Mom and Dad Talks.